An entirely avoidable tragedy. 3 UPSC aspirants, students who wanted to become IAS officers, drowned on Saturday in the basement of a coaching center, the Rao's IAS Study Circle Coaching Center in Delhi's old Rajinder Nagar area after it flooded. The victims have been identified as Shreya Yadav, who was 25 years old from Uttar Pradesh, Tanya Soni, 25 years old from Telangana, and Navin Dalwin, 28 years old from Kerala's Ernakulam. They died after they were trapped for 4 hours when water suddenly gushed into the library of the coaching center, which is located in the basement. According to eyewitnesses, the basement filled with 10 to 12 feet of water in almost no time. If we sit and think about it, how do we wrap your head around something like this? How could this have possibly happened? From what we know so far, it started on Saturday evening at 6:45. Heavy rains led to waterlogging in the old Rajinder Nagar area, and soon the iron gate at the Rao's IAS Study Circle, which was acting sort of like a barrier for the floodwaters, broke and water gushed in. One video from that day shows that the floodwaters gushed inside the coaching center after a speeding car passed by and caused a large amount of water to hit the gate, and the gate broke. The water accumulated in the basement of the building where 20 to 25 students were still in the library at that point. One student told The Hindu that the force of the water was so much that the entire basement flooded in 5 minutes. About 15 students had run out of the basement by 7 o'clock in the evening. Security guards from the floor above cut off the water supply to prevent electrocution. 3 or 4 students were still stuck in the basement. Now the water had reached the level of the road. Now print reports that because the power had been shut off, there was a biometric system that controlled access to the building that was also shut in the process, effectively locking the doors and trapping those inside. One student told The Hindu that they were trapped inside and could only get out when the glass door of the library was broken open, and they sustained injuries because of that broken glass. Other traumatized students have told stories about how their narrow escape involved gasping for air and climbing on top of tables and chairs and being pulled out by other students using ropes because they could barely see in the murky water. It's suspected that the water that was flooding was actually sewage water. It took the fire department 45 minutes to reach the spot because of waterlogging and bad traffic. So 5 fire tenders reached. They had 4 water pumps on the spot. They also had divers from the NDRF. The fire chief of Delhi says even though they kept pumping out water, the water kept coming back into the basement because simply of the way the building was built. The divers found it difficult to spot the students because the water was murky and there was furniture and books floating in that water. 10:39 to be precise, that the first body was recovered, 2 more before 1 a.m. after all of the water had been pumped out onto the road. Obviously, there have been lapses and corruption. NDTV reports that the coaching center was built on a slope which led to flooding, and it's also being probed as to whether or not the flooding was caused by an overflowing sewage drain. The FIR mentions that the basement had no drainage system, according to the Times of India. The coaching center also did not have permission to build a library in the basement. It was only meant to be used for storage purposes. The most damning of all, almost a month ago on the 26th of June, Kishore Singh Kushwa, another IAS student, filed a complaint with the Municipal Corporation of Delhi regarding the alleged illegal use of basements by coaching centers. Reminders were sent again on the 15th of July and the 22nd of July. So they had been warned about this. They knew this was going to happen. This is what the letter said. They are running classes which are affecting the lives of students and staff. There's a possibility of a major accident. Big UPSC coaching institutes are running classes in illegal places, putting lives of students at risk. No action was taken in the days that followed. Even now, the current status of that complaint online is under process. Who is responsible for the MCD? Who looked the other way? This institute is located in the Rajinder Nagar ward under the Karol Bagh zone in the city. Now, in 2022, the local body elections, Aam Aadmi Party's Aarti Chawla won this particular constituency. Now, the commissioner of the MCD is IAS officer Ashwini Kumar, and the MCD is currently run by the Aam Aadmi Party that has a majority of the seats. The Aam Aadmi Party also runs the city of Delhi. So there's no question here about who is responsible and who should be pulled up right now for this particular incident. This is what the police has done. A total of 7 people have been arrested. This includes the owner of the building, the coordination of the Center for Rao's IS Study Circle, 4 relatives of the owner, because including his son, because different floors were registered in different names. And this is according to India Today. The owner of the SUV who drove past the building, which has caused damage to the gate but caused the water to come in. The driver, in his defense, has said he was just driving the car. He couldn't have possibly known that there were children inside and the water would flow in. The Delhi Fire Services and MCD has been ordered by the police to provide a report on the building and the basement. The police will also question the municipal authorities about the drainage system in the area. And I've asked for more information. Those responsible for maintaining the drainage system have been named as accused in the FIR. The MCD has now fired a junior engineer and suspended an assistant engineer from this area. This is according to PTI. Bulldozers have been seen now rolling into this neighborhood and breaking encroachments of coaching centers on Monday. Civic authorities have also sealed 13 coaching centers in the old Rajinder Nagar area that were found violating the basement rules. But there has been no arrest and no investigation into which politician or which government officer ignored this complaint and perhaps took a bribe to look the other way when this coaching center was violating rules. Knee-jerk reactions like what we're seeing right now are a regular feature in our country where lives are lost in negligence. Bulldozers are used, buildings are sealed, but there is a real problem of corruption that is never looked into. A day after this incident, other UPSC aspirants in the area got together and began to protest. They said, we pay fees and we have to risk our lives. Nobody from Rao's has come forward to talk to us. Nobody has come to fight for us. Another protester said that civic authorities, despite multiple complaints year after year, have done nothing. He said that he's been there since 2022 and every year students file complaints but no action is taken. The water filling up in basements is a regular feature. They apparently continue to have classes even if there is 1.5 feet of water in those centers. It doesn't bother anybody. This neighborhood that we're talking about, New Delhi's old Rajinder Nagar, where the incident took place, is a coaching hub. Thousands of students come here every year hoping to crack the competitive exams. The area is full of glass facades of coaching institutes, seas of advertising boards and banners and leaflets looking for attention and for money. Students shell out upwards of 1.5 lakh rupees as coaching fees every year and another 3,500 rupees on study materials, and then they're crammed into basements with no safety checks in place. A student who spent the last 5 years pursuing an IS dream in this locality has told India Today that the living conditions are nothing less than a slum. The area is regularly prone to flooding. Across the country, this is not the first time that negligence and the absence of safety protocols in coaching institutes have costed us the lives of precious young students. In May 2019, 22 students were killed in a fire caused by a short circuit in a coaching center in Surat. The inspection said that the building had no fire safety. In 2022, the owner of that institute was granted bail by the Gujarat High Court. Just last year, a fire broke out in a coaching institute in Delhi's Mukherjee Nagar, where the meter box caught fire. The fire didn't spread, but students were seen, and there are visuals of this, jumping out of their windows with the help of wires because there was no fire exit. 2 coaching institute operators were arrested and then later let out in bail. And of course, we know what's happening in Kota, which has received a lot of public scrutiny, with the number of rising student suicides because of the way this entire coaching system has been stacked. 13 reported student suicides only this year. Overcrowded classrooms, substandard hostel facilities, inadequate medical care. The mounting suicides then forced the Rajasthan government to create a dedicated psychological counseling center in Kota last year. Until January this year, coaching centers were a free-for-all with absolutely no regulation at all. It's only in January that the Ministry of Education, Government of India, introduced guidelines for coaching centers. Now, what are these guidelines? What do they say? 1, each coaching center has to be registered with a relevant local authority. Coaching centers were prohibited from making false claims or offering guarantees in their results. Only students who are over 16 years old can register for coaching, and the fees had to be fair and reasonable. But under infrastructure, it required that each classroom provide a minimum space of 1 square meter per student, that the coaching centers must comply with safety and building regulations and obtain building and safety certificates, that there be proper electrification, ventilation, lighting and security measures and CCTV cameras. Now here's the thing. The rules say in penalty that if a coaching center is found to be in violation of any of these rules, it's a 25,000 rupee fine for the first violation, 1 lakh for the second violation, and perhaps a revocation of their license for repeat offenders. Here's the problem. Coaching centers make so much money. They charge between 1.5 and 2 lakh rupees fees to each student per year. This penalty is hardly anything, and it leaves them with such a wide margin to pay off anyone to look the other way. Fundamentally, it's corruption on the local level in all of our cities, and in this case, the Delhi MCD run by the Aam Aadmi Party, that has caused these avoidable deaths. Apart from that, there's also a shortage of opportunities as resulted in this extremely stiff competition for entrance exams, where students are put under this tremendous pressure. The government will offer us short-term solutions. They will show us these bulldozers because that looks good on television. They will break some barricades, they will cancel some licenses, they will sell some buildings. But the coaching institute problem is a nationwide problem, where students are forced into basements, into small rooms that have no fire safety, that have actually not even spaces that humans should be held in. The corruption at the local level needs to be looked at. The corruption at the municipal level, the fire safety level. And largely on the larger space, coaching institutes have to be regulated, just like schools and colleges. There have to be proper systems that will come in, inspect, and stop them from taking advantage of young lives. Because it's the only way we can protect the most important thing in our country, the talent and the promise.